and welcome to Moral and Ethical Aspects of Stem Cell Research in America by me, Jeff Booth. Before we go any further, I'll first start by answering the question, what are stem cells? Well, medicine.net defines a stem cell as one of the human body's master cells, which has the ability to grow into any one of the body's more than 200 cell types. More specifically, they retain the ability to divide throughout life and give rise to cells that can become highly specialized and take the place of cells that die or are lost. They also contribute to the body's ability to renew and repair its tissues. Unlike mature cells, stem cells have the ability to both renew themselves and create new cells of whatever tissue they belong to. To be more specific though, not all stem cells are the same, and there are a few that I would like to now cover for the sake of clarity. The first type I will cover are the embryonic stem cells. These are the type that come from human embryos that are approximately 3 to 5 days old. At this particular stage, an embryo is called a blastocyst and has about 150 cells. This specific type can not only divide into even more stem cells, but can also become any type of cell in the body. These properties allow embryonic stem cells to be used for regenerating and repairing diseased tissues and organs. The second type of stem cells are known as adult stem cells. These types of stem cells can be found in small numbers in most adult tissues. Take, for example, bone marrow or adipose. Now, these cells are far more limited than embryonic stem cells are. The third and final type I will briefly cover are the peritoneal stem cells. These kinds of stem cells reside in the amniotic fluid in addition to the umbilical cord blood. This type of stem cell also possesses the ability to change into specialized cells. Next, I will give a brief history on who takes credit for the discovery of stem cells. There's been quite a bit of dispute as to who actually discovered them. The first known recorded use can be traced all the way back to 1896. However, for the sake of time, I will fast forward to February 2nd, 1963, when two Canadian scientists named Ernest McCulloch and James Till performed experiments on mice and observed that different blood cells come from a special class of cells that are now known as stem cells. Next, what are stem cells used for? Well, stem cells can be used for many things. They have the ability to help us understand how complex organisms are formed and developed, as to track normal and abnormal cell development such as birth defects and certain cancers. Getting a better understanding of these diseases and processes will help us better to treat these conditions in the future. Not only can they be used to study diseases, but they can also be used to treat them as well. They are already being used for treating extensive burns, bone marrow transplants, patients who have leukemia, as well as other blood disorders. They also have the ability to possibly treat serious diseases that do not yet have a cure. These diseases include Parkinson's, stroke, heart disease, diabetes, and neurological disorders, just to name a few. In addition, they also have the ability to be used for new experimental medical treatments, which could reduce or even possibly eliminate the need for any testing on animals. Next, we'll finally take a look at the moral and ethical aspects of stem cell research in America. Stem cell therapy and research, like everything else, has its pros and cons, all of which are worth noting and considering. So I'll first start by discussing the advantages. As previously mentioned, stem cell therapy and research has shown great potential in the future for treating numerous conditions such as Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, schizophrenia, spinal cord injury, cancer, diabetes, as well as many others. Also, as previously mentioned, it can help researchers in the future who are experimenting with new drugs and treatments avoid unnecessary testing on animals. Now, morally and ethically, I think everyone can agree that that's a good thing. Stem cell research also aids in the studying of the developmental stages of an embryo during pregnancy. It can potentially aid in the treatment of certain birth defects, infertility problems, and even pregnancy loss. Lastly, another positive about stem cell research and therapy is that it uses the patient's own cells and DNA, which greatly reduces the risk of rejection in cases of blood transfusions and organ transplants. On the other hand, there are some cons of stem cell therapy and research, and now I'll briefly go over a couple of the following. First, stem cell research itself does involve the destruction of blastocysts that are formed from the fertilization of a human egg. There are many in the religious community that believe that life begins at conception and that this means of research is unethical for any reason. Next, as with any newly introduced drug, treatment, or therapy, The potential for unintended consequences and long-term side effects are unknown. Furthermore, there are a number of people who believe that if stem cell research were to lead to cloning, that this could in turn further perpetuate the desire for designer babies and super soldiers. Many call this playing God or playing with Mother Nature, and also feel that this is highly immoral and unethical. Having said that, it's time to answer the question, where does America stand on stem cell research? According to a Research America poll of U.S. adults conducted in partnership with Zogby Analytics in January 2015, Americans are overwhelmingly in support of stem cell research. In conclusion, stem cell research is still a work in progress. Strict guidelines need to be put into place before it becomes the first-line treatment for any medical condition. Thank you for your time.